Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, saying shalom to those that's going to be getting on the live a little later. And of course, shalom to those that's about to hop on this live. Lord willing, this is quick, straight to the point. This is more of a spontaneous live because like, okay. Let's just get into it. So first and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power that always makes this possible. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit, and a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, in his sound doctrine, scattered folk on the earth, Lord willing, continue to endure and be sincere. Shalom to the Aqua, the sisters in his faith and his truth. Lord willing, you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, Yahawah has mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in faith. You see the title of this lesson, Teach the Children the Ways of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Very important. Came across some small information of what some children did to some other children. And it's about to get way worse in the world, but even in America. So this lesson is going to focus on teaching children the law, the commandments, and the testimonies of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, so the next generation keeps the covenant and faith strong. Now this stems from this criminal, the page is called Criminal Obsessed. My first lady had sent me this. I didn't even think I was going to do a lesson on it, but it stemmed from where I actually put my eyes on first. So before we even read any verse, let's just read what this actually is going into. It says a 10-year-old girl in Ohio has been placed under house arrest after a 5-year-old was violently attacked, beaten, humiliated in a field. 2 children, including the 10-year-old, now face charges of attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. The victim's mother told the court they knew what they were doing and they were okay with it. Okay? They were okay with it. Hold on one second. Gotta make sure. Okay. So again, a 10-year-old girl in Ohio has been placed on house arrest after a 5-year-old was violated and attacked, beaten, and humiliated in a field. 2 children, including a 10-year-old, now faces charges of attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. The victim's mother told the court they knew what they was doing. They knew what they were doing, and they were okay with that. This is the image of the child. Now, I can't probably show you because of the screen is going to have a glare. Let me see. I'll read different points. It says in September 2025, a 5-year-old Ohio girl was violently attacked in a field. She suffered severe injuries, including scalp damage, extensive bruising, and blood in her eyes and mouth. The child was naked when she was found, and she had been urinated on. Two children, a 9-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl, have been charged with an attempt murder, rape, and kidnapping, so like YouTube, kidnapping and strangulation. So a 10-year-old girl stayed silent as prosecutors laid out disturbing allegations against her at a court hearing on November 7th. Afterward, Judge Christine Sweeney ordered that the girl be placed under home detention with an electronic monitor. The victim's mother, Ativia Kinabu, spoke in court saying this type of behavior doesn't deserve grace. They knew what they were doing and they were okay with it. They even played after not caring about my baby. Remember that. So let's actually get into some precepts before we get into the main event, which is Psalm 70, verse 1 to 8. This is why you should be teaching your children. This is 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, in verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and much fire shall be thrown, and the wild beasts shall move away, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. Okay? So that man, he planted a seed, right? And better yet, before I even go to Psalms, I gotta get this precept that's in my head. Salaki, I believe maybe this is it. Sirach 16. Oh, I think I want to get it in the KJV. This Sirach, the 16th chapter, in verse 3. Trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude, for one that is just is better than 1,000, and better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly, right? So it's better to die without children, right, than to have them that are ungodly. These children don't know none about Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, because they wasn't taught, right? Let me get another precept before we go to the main event. When you go to, let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 10. Oh, it's right there. It says, and also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not Yahawah, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. And even when we look at Revelation 11 chapter verse 8, a lot of us in that, especially around 1969 all the way to now, it's a lot of generations that are still in a dead state. So these children can be a product of being in a dead state. Okay, so let me read this precept that I have. I got notes here and notes here, so just bear with me. So this is Psalms chapter 78 verse 1. Give ear, O my people, to my law, and incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which have been heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, showing to generation and generations to come the praises of Yahawah and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, and that they might set their hope in the Most High and not forget the works of the Most High, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, towards righteousness, and whose spirit was not stand fast with the Most High. This is another reason why, you want to be raising and teaching your children the laws, statutes, and commandments, and the wonders of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So when we look at this passage, it teaches the importance of passing down the truth, laws, the faith from generation to generation. The Most High doesn't want his word to stop with one man or one generation. It must live on in the hearts of the children of Israel through continual teaching, discipline, and remembrance. That's why when you read Psalms 78, I believe from verse 8 all the way to 41, you get a beautiful, what I would say, a terrible history. Okay? So now, let's just dissect these verses real quick. Let's go to Matthew 13 and 10. It's Matthew 13 and 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? And he answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Just like I said earlier, those children, and Lord willing, their family, because if they doing that, then you got to think about the parents. They don't got the truth. And it's because this teaching, right, this kingdom on this side, dealing with the salvation, the elect, this faith, this ministry, wasn't given unto them. And it's a lot of children, a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents that wasn't given this knowledge, and this is why seeing, children do the things that they did to this girl, right, is a prime example of letting, especially you that's of this faith, how much you should be grateful that you in this thing, okay? How much grateful you should be thankful how you are in this thing. You know what, just so I'm not just hopping around, let me just use the tablet to make it faster. So, boom, let's do this. So the parables and dark sayings hold deep spiritual lessons passed down by the prophets. So let's go to Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter, starting at verse 4. It says, Hear, O Israel, Yahawah, our power is one. Yahawah, and thou shalt love Yahawah thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bid them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as a frontlets between thy eyes. So even more, just because you come in this truth as a parent, you shouldn't be slacking on teaching your children the law, things that happen, especially what comes on what you would be put to death for, right? Teaching your children about murder, right? Teaching your children about sacrifice, teaching your daughters about their menstrual cycle, teaching your daughter about marriage, especially when it comes to like sex, teaching your son his role as a man and striving that, knowing that a man is the head of his household, right? Speaking to you men, because you teachers, your lessons is the prime example. But for you women, being too relaxed, right? Just because you got a husband, you got children, you changing diapers, you gotta cook, you work. We're all trying to get in the kingdom. So you shouldn't be having excuses on, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Man, we all got something to do. But when you see these things that's going on with other children that don't got this truth and you do, you should be making it your duty to at least teaching them two laws throughout the day. It's 356 days in a year, 7 days in a week, 30 days in a month, right? And let alone you're going to keep doing it and doing it until that time come where they moving out that house, if they do, okay? This is something serious. Another one, Proverbs 22:6, because how a daughter treat her father is the example how she's going to treat her husband. If she's not respecting her father, listening to her father, being guided, right? Because well, even when you watch the TV show, The House of David, look at how the daughters are in the face of their father, learning, right? Especially in this new season where he was teaching them certain things, right? The daughters, if mostly daughters is the father's princess. He cares for her just like the wife, through the spirit. That's like his other wife or his other possession, which he will protect, just like his son. The daughters is always in the face of the father because you want to know. Basically, when you look at your father, you're going to see the reflection of the man that you should have, a man of understanding, a man of might, a man of discipline. But if the daughter don't respect the father, she's not learning, she's not communicating with the father, how the hell is she going to learn? Especially when the daughter is not in the face of her mother to know how a wife should be, how a woman caters to her husband, how she put the husband before anybody, right? Mother, father, or children. That child can see when the daughter is seeing how the mother is cooking, how she clean, how she's folding, cleaning clothes, how she even making money, how she's trying to make it even easier for the husband to provide, right? Oh, you know what? Hey, yo, love, I got an extra few dollars for the rent, or this. How they see the teamwork and how she know that the man is doing all this, but she's even making it easier. A daughter can see that. What if a daughter is too busy bullshitting around outside, twerking, or on a damn phone or electron? She's not gonna learn. What about a son? It's not about just only electronics. Your son should be ever learning because he's growing into a man, not a little man, growing into his manhood. Okay? So this Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way they should go, and when he is old, he will not depart. So these children was trained up in the opposite way. They wasn't trained up in a way that's towards Yahawah Bahasham, right? Trained to be uprightly. When you're a parent, you're training, right? You're training your child. This is a job. This is work. Being a parent is life, okay? Let's go to the book. I gotta go here just so I don't remove from the screen. Let's get Sirach, the 30th chapter, verse 3 and 4. It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. Now for the son, because that's another man that Esau want to target to not know who he is, because a man has the seed. A man can bring back the generations. The man is the authority. So when you teach your son how to move and you discipline him, this is why you women shouldn't be soft on your son. You soft with the nourishment, but when it comes to, hey, yo, clean this, hey, do this. But if you allowing your son just to play the game every day, even the weekend, like what parent are you? Right? We're supposed to be bringing our children back to Yahawah, especially your son. You shouldn't, oh, I forgot to do this, right? We got work to do before pleasure, right? Before pleasure for me, right? Before I think I want to have a good time, right? I should be focusing on Yahawah, Yahawashi, right? Let alone everything else is going to follow. If I don't hold myself diligently in the fear of the Lord, my house is going to be overthrown. You women, your first priority is not the ministry. Of course, you want to know the law, how to be a wife, how to be a mother, right? And you do those things in your life, right? You're cleaning. Hey, what's for dinner? What we making? Right? You seeing what the children got on, right? You are building your house, making sure it's right. No running around, no jumping around. Your daughter's wearing a dress, no legs open. You're observing everything. You're active. You're not just sitting on your ass or just laying down, legs open. You making sure everything good, especially when you got babies around. This is why babies is always running around to get your ass up. You're supposed to be proactive, right? See yourself, look at those things as a workout, because everything you do, when babies are imitating it. So especially with your son, if the father dies, he goes in prison, he's in a FEMA camp, he has a son that is his reflection. If that son not watching the father, right, studying, applying himself to this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, when that man go, that's not, you don't got another reflection of you, brother. Okay? So this is why, even more, keep showing your light in front of your son. Now, even for a daughter. Now, even though a daughter is supposed to be raised to be ready to be given to a man, spiritually, especially on this side, you women, if something do happen to you, you want to make sure that you taught your daughter how to hold herself in the right conduct, right? How she's covering her assets, her ass, her titties, not being the face of every man. The only face that a woman, a daughter, should be in is Yahawah Bahasham and a father. Just like a wife, you should be in your husband's face, but really Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And that's going to help for the next generation that's behind you. Okay? So let's go to Judges again. You already read it, but let's read it again. Judges chapter 2. We're gonna read 10 to 12. It says, and also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not Yahawah, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahawah, and served Balaam, and they forsook Yahawah, power of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, and of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked Yahawah to anger. Now, verse 10 is the point. When the next generation came, what happened? Which knew not Yahawah, nor yet the works which they had done. So that means nobody was teaching them the law, statutes, commandments. Nobody was going into the Psalm. Nobody was going into the prophets. Same as in today. Now, with this internet, it's kind of different. If you men of the Lord and you teaching, there's no way that your wife, like if she don't know something, she can go to a dang video. It's no way. Now, because our attention span is not how it used to be, especially our children. You want to get the lesson and make it small and short. But especially for you want to practice yourself by going into the scriptures, mainly the law, right? Of course, the Psalms and the Proverbs, and then some of your Yahawashi, the things you know, and teaching your children. Okay, this is not all about making love, having a good time. You're outside. When you have a house, now you are working. Like a brother said at work, which I got multiple videos that's going to be loaded today. Yahawah Ratazah. A brother at work was seeing how me and Yarmayan was scrubbing and how we work at the job, and we go out and still teach. He said, man, I meant y'all, like, I didn't even know he was saying this. He was talking to my brother about it. But what we had to do for the past few days, like I'm talking about cleaning the most littlest things, scrubbing and all those things. And this man know what we teach. We in captivity, and brothers come smiling. We keep what we do for Yahawah Shemashai separate from work, so it don't cause contention or make us lose our job. And for brothers to be like, yo, man, what y'all doing? And at the end of the day, everything outside the ministry is to build your discipline, your character for this walk, for this faith, okay? So when it comes to being lazy at work, you ain't performing, in this truth. If you ain't performing in this truth, when it comes to a job, some people that might perform in bullshit but don't got no job. I know some people that got food stamps and sell their food stamps just so that they can smoke weed and go do what they want, but don't want to get no job. You're lazy. Now, when you get children, all that lazy stuff is out the damn window. This is another reason why I don't like being sick, because it might take me away from teaching, right? And I want my household to see me on engine mode, on go mode, right? Where it's the time like, damn, he don't got no, Lord willing, hopefully I got time with him. But for them to see me strive for Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, that should make everybody at ease. because it should make them know he's striving for that kingdom. It should be questions. It should be conversations of Yahawah Bahasham Shai in that house. Okay? Sorry, I'm just getting excited. So, Israel is a nation built on remembrance. Forgetting Yahawah leads to destruction. These children that we just read, what they did to that little girl, and there's multiple other children. It's multiple women and men, grandfathers that don't know the Lord. Guess what? It's going to lead to destruction. Right? Let me get this. 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, in verse 3. Verse 3 in the NLT, it says, if the good news we preach is hidden behind a veil, it is hidden only from people who are perishing. So if you don't got this truth, nobody teaching you, you don't got nobody to depend on when it comes to wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you're going to be destroyed. I'm sorry, I got to put it that way. You're going to be destroyed. Okay? So now, let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. And let's read verse 9 and 10 in the KJV. It says, it says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, unless they depart from thy heart in all the days of thy life. But teach thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before Yahawah thy power in Horeb, and when Yahawah said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Now, first, this is towards your son's sons, right? If you got a son, you should be teaching them. The other day, my son, which lived with his mother in Orlando, finally built a relationship with him because of his mother. He asked me out of nowhere. Maybe it could have been his mother, but through the spirit, it made me happy where he asked me, what's your YouTube channel? I'm like, are you sure? But he asked for my YouTube channel. So for me to have, my two young kings, to me it's very important that they understand how important this truth is. I get intimate and enjoyment to know when they want to know about Yahawah Bahasham. All that other stuff, I'm not about to keep showing the most electrifying attention to those things, because we're so defiled that kids will get lost in that attraction and talk about that for days. When it comes to Yahawah Bahasham Shai, it's like, oh, it's too deep. I believe, but can we talk about something else there? We got to make this thing attractive. And even for your daughters, because this world wants to target them. And literally, you women are a sex symbol. Literally. You got tater tots, and you got that karuchi, and you got booty. Literally. You are a sex object, right? You're more than that, but literally, the number one pleasure y'all got is sex, that comfort, okay? So when our daughters is getting a certain body, it growing, that's, hey, and then hormones is in a factor, guess what? We supposed to be teaching our children this. This is why your daughter wants to be, you want your daughter to be more shamefaced, especially when she's walking out this damn house, okay? This is why our daughters should be more in a father's face, because you get to see firsthand what type of man you should be with. It's not about no damn looks, because your father's the one that's appointed it. But it helps you to understand if the father's not around and you built that relationship, that was your ace boom coon, and your father not around, FEMA camp or whatever happens, no man can ever come across, especially if your mom around, because if he's not a reflection of your father, a man would never come close. But how can you know or measure your father if you in the distance? This is why, as an example, I'm just saying my little babies and my other little youngins that's always in my face every time. Wake up, go to work, leave work, they in my face, hey, let me get a hug. Then conversations I'm able to have with them is a little mind-boggling. Like, yo, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work until we get in the kingdom. I don't even want to. Like when you hear those certain things, it makes you feel good, right? Because that's one less obstacle. But guess what? Nobody's saved, right? Because people every while we still here, you still growing. It's gonna be warm, gonna be outside, But it's just about your kids knowing, okay? Sorry again, I'm very excited. This is Exodus 12, verse 26. 26 to 27. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahawah's Passover, who passed over the house of the children of Israel. And when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head in worship. Especially for you brothers, you sisters, if y'all got time, to me, especially for myself, now we're able to read, teach, and do the things that we can do. If I go around and I ask my children, because we've been doing Passover for a minute, if they don't know what Passover is about, it's not the end of the world. But of course, through the spirit, I'm gonna be upset. Like, you worried about a phone, a tablet, a YouTube, a skip to my Lou, a Fortnite, a movie, and you don't even know what Passover is about, and we keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it just said, like, your children, it says, who pass over the houses. Oh, wait, hold on. Verse 26, where it says, when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? There's a lot of children that don't ask anything. They'll read something and think that they just got it, you know? And they might just tell you their favorite verse that they got out of it. Of course, they might have to read in other translations because they might not be able to fully understand what it's saying in the KJV. But the KJV is the best translation because you can read in another translation in the word. It can be a word that be taken out and it might have a way different meaning. So the chapter or whatever you're reading, it's not going to have the same context. That's why you have to know, compare context. You want to compare text or translations. So this is why, children should want to be in the knowing. When I don't know if y'all seen the movie with Ice Cube, Are We There Yet? And children kept saying, Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Even though they asking the same question, you know, that's the thing with America in this world. Children is asking bullshit questions, especially when you was in a world with Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine's, the Tooth Fairy, and all that other extra stuff. Children will ask you everything about that. And it'd be the same dumb question. How Santa Claus get in the house and there's no chimney? But then if the door locked, how do we get in there? We'll ask you every question. Halloween, what outfit can I get? All this extra stuff. When it comes to Bahasham, we've been deteriorated. Okay? So, we get this other one because this is a good point too. Joshua, the 4th chapter. And I'm bringing out points where you should be going into, right? In the Old Testament, right? The law and the history. This is Joshua 4, verse 6. It says that this may, wait, hold on. It says that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, children is asking their fathers. These children might not have a father, let alone if they do. A father might not be in this thing. Some of y'all that's in this faith that got fathers, you should be using your father, right? Your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what mean ye by these stones? Then ye shall answer them that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahawah, and when it passed over Jordan, the words of Jordan were cut off, and these stones should be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. Now, when you go into the law, right, the Torah, first 5 books, and the history, like from Joshua up, everything is kind of really, it just explains it perfectly So that's an easy area to teach children, especially when you go into like the Maccabees, right? It's easy to explain. It's plain, okay? So there's no way around. We should be building ourselves up into having memory in these things, right? So teaching the children builds hope, remembrance, and obedience and character. If they know what Yahawah has done, the miracles, the deliverance, the judgment, they will trust Him in the time of trouble, right? Uh, I played a prank. I think it was downstairs, and I was just looking up something. I think for a lesson, and my little man, my son TJ, he heard it, and he had a little fright in there. Oh, is it happening? Me just seeing that, I know that for all my children, that could be actually real. Ain't no ain't no YouTube cut. How can they really be serious about it? Half of our children can't even go without YouTube. Watching that, half of us can't even go days without watching bullshit. You know, just imagine these other children that got, like I'm talking about, these children that got every game system, every Jordan, every J's. They get whatever they want. Imagine them not having that. Imagine not having like, man, if they would have kept the food stamps away, more jobs getting canceled, Christmas would have been terrible for a lot of y'all. But it's so many of our children that get what they want. Okay, there is no that people are not being molded in discipline because Bahasham is not dwelling in the midst of that house. This is another classic verse that we bring out at camp in multiple lessons. Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So these things is for your learning. We do all the, and this is the craziest thing. Even in the ancient world, your children had like scholars, philosophers, that they would be educated. It wasn't no let's go to school, but the number one thing we was teaching our children in the ancient world was the law, statutes, and commandments. We was talking about the Lord more. We're in a system, a kingdom, so everything is pushed on what they want us to teach. You do schoolwork, but through the Spirit, like I keep saying in certain lessons. When I go to work, I always try to reflect that to the truth. If I can do what I'm doing at work, I should be going even hard for the truth. Sometimes you working hard to get that raise or that promotion. I'm working to get the promotion to get in the kingdom, but let alone I got other people around that I should be knowing that it's not just only me. And it helps me to be humble because it's not even only the people in my household, it's other elect outside, men and women, literally. So I know I'm not doing my work only for my household. I'm doing it for the elect men and you elect lady, right? And hey, future women and all that, man. I'm doing it. We doing it for y'all, man. Okay. So at the end of the day, if the things aforetime was read for our learning, we should be trying to get that understanding. This is how you get connected to the Lord. This is how you communicate with Yahawah Shai, by reading these documents. And if you don't understand, this is why the teachers is here. Okay. We almost done. Let's get this one. 2 Timothy 3:15. In that from a child thou hast known the holy scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith, which is in Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? And basically, it's plain, right? You have been taught the holy scriptures from childhood. And what about you children that come into faith? How many of y'all can really say you have learned Feast of Dedication, what it's for? Have you ever sat down and just, even if I learn something, I still meditate, right? You still got to think, the Maccabees is probably my favorite book. Our favorite character would be Job, Moses, Peter, but I'm always most likely thinking of the Maccabees probably the most. But there's multiple joints I'm always thinking about, but especially with them 7 sons went through, or the beginning of the Maccabees. That's something to really sit and think and ponder. Look at all the games, all the sports football, basketball. Look at all these technologies that Esau create to make you feel comfortable. And look at the people in the world. A lot of people, like if I go on TikTok, you just see bullshit all day. When all that cut off, imagine how miserable people are gonna feel. Imagine the people that can't smoke weed, cigarettes, do drugs, or drink. Yo, a lot of people are gonna be angry and bugged out that they can't smoke their morning blunt or smoke a cigarette or have a drink. Man, this is why we gotta be thankful that we got this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Psalms 119, verse 9, wherewith whole shall a young man cleanse his way by taking heed according to thy word. How can he cleanse his way if he don't know what's going on in the word? You know, it's some women out here that's thinking about a date or a vacation before even teaching their children. Literally, Lakeisha probably went like that one girl. This goes with the lesson. The one girl, she had her children locked up in the basement while she went on a boat trip. Came back, the police was waiting for her. Then you had another girl, I think she was on a date, and she kept her children locked in a room or for weeks. And something happened. Then you had another lady, I got this YouTube channel, I forgot what it's titled, where she kept these children locked up in a room. They boo-booing all on the floor. She had them in her trunk and driving somewhere, I guess, to bury them or something. She got arrested. Yeah, leaving time in, time out. And I think they wasn't her children, it's one of her relatives. She let them children die, man. Okay? Some people don't deserve to have children, but ask yourself, do you? What is you think just because you feed your children, you know, you got them a nice bed, a bunk bed, a slip and slide, a water bed, you got them a video game that you the great parent, you really don't know your role, man. Right? You women are supposed to be nourishers. Yes, if your kid get a boo-boo, they crying, yes, yes, yes. But you as a woman, you are, especially when you got young children, especially a young man, a daughter, you supposed to, if she's single, you supposed to be teaching them. Literally teaching them. Right? I'm always doing this like, what if I'm going? That I put that break in for you elect that you could go and preferable videos on my channel, let alone the way that I move. As a man, a woman can't compare it. But when it comes to faith, when I'm putting Yahawashi first before anything, women, especially in my household, my daughters, they should be able to reflect and see like he's always focused on the Lord. Guess what? You should have the same reflection. You know, I don't want to wake up and be lazy. Like when I do a lesson, I be woozing out, be tired. I might take a break and wait an hour or something before I actually do a lesson, because it's times where I did lessons and I would doze off real quick because I was too tired, but I wanted to do a lesson. You got to be sincere when you're reading, when you're teaching. You got to be sincere when you're asking a question. Like if even children, you know, whatever y'all do in y'all house, you know, you want your children to show the same reflection as you. Be serious when you're reading this word or when you're talking about it. This is not no game. It's not, okay? Let me get Numbers 14:22. Numbers 14:22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, have not hearkened to my voice. Right? So this verse reminds us that it reminds us not to be like them, like our forefathers, even though the Lord said we're worse than our forefathers, but to renew the covenant through obedience, faith in Yahawashi, the mediator of the new covenant, let alone sacrifice. Okay? So when you look at Ezekiel 20, verse 18 and 19, it says, but I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with your idols. I am Yahawah, your power. Walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. Like I have a binder full of all the old gods. Teach your children. You know, there's multiple different gods. That some of us might interact with. Even your children, you should be telling them about witchcraft. Some of the shows that they're watching, most likely based on witchcraft. You know, as they going in sin or dying, they might just, oh, I love this. Oh, if I can do, they want to be able to be in the knowing that that's not of the Lord, right? Witches were supposed to be torched, you know, and like a priest, a priest of the Lord, his daughter shouldn't be a whore because she brings shames to the house. Let alone she's gonna be, Lord willing, put to death. So this is why, when we look at now the whole 12 tribes, you're a royal priesthood. So our daughter shouldn't going on YouTube seeing twerking, and your daughter, if she can do that, that means she's ready to go in that bed. And I'm just speaking because grown women should be shaking their tail feather. They should be shaking their butt. So if your daughter's shaking her tail feather, hey, then she might be, moving that as a cannon. Let alone if your daughter got a slick, smart ass mouth, you shouldn't be doing that. You should always be gentle and soft. If you mothers is gentle and soft, depending if somebody need correction, if your daughter's not a reflection, that should be a alert sign for you that you have to get on to teaching. Don't just sit there, oh, I don't know why she's not like this or her. No, you got to get on to teaching. Like, yo, babe, you got to teach like this. Even if they don't know them, a teacher, you got to think, how do a child know how to say a word? You keep saying dada, mom, chair, and eventually get used to it. So if you're not teaching them how they supposed to go, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way they should go. You're building a woman in her mannerism. Go read the book of Ruth. You might have to read that again. Wasn't as a grown woman, wasn't as that young grown woman, wasn't she pampered and molded how the king want her? Even when you watching the movie, how she should smell, oh, this and this and that. So you should be raising your daughters in the same reflection. Okay? Some people don't want to do that. I'm going to just read this one and then we'll just close. This is St. John 14 and 15. And it reads, it says, if ye love me, keep my commandments. Right? And when you go into these commandments, it's simultaneously with the laws, statutes, and commandments. So if you love the Lord, if your children do, this is another test. Like, hey, what's this law? What's that law? They don't know it. Guess what? Now you gotta. You might not be bringing them out enough. It's not that they can't remember it, but that's for you to be on your P's and Q's. Because what if your child was on their own and they hungry, they got the tools to go get food, and they come across locusts and a hog. And I'm talking about they gotta eat because of the walk that's in front of them. They might need energy. What they gonna do? They need to know that. Okay? Especially when it comes to if your daughter on her own and she's of age. Most likely, if she's not moved in the spirit to go towards a man of the Lord, you most likely a 2/3. Because it's naturally gonna happen in the spirit, because a woman is going to look for a covering of a man. Oh, hell breaking loose, ain't no law, no cops, no nothing. Everybody to fend for themselves, and you a woman, especially developed, and you see what's going on with these children. Oh, you a body. you really don't understand, man. You're a body. So imagine you women that might be married, especially second Ezra. Some of you women gonna be single because your husband gonna be drafted either in the war or they gonna die by famine or the sword. And some of y'all women that could be married now, the Lord might have mercy on you, but your husband might be removed and you might be drawn to a man of the Lord. And you was just married and the Lord is saving you by the skin of your teeth, literally. It's a mother right now that got a love boo, and he might not make it, and that sister might be humbled at that last moment, either seeing a miracle or calling the Lord. And where her man at, she ain't got no covering, that spirit gonna hit her if she is, and she's gonna want to be under a man of the Lord. A lot of us brothers gonna be having some fugly wugglies, but her spirit might be more beautiful than a woman you was dealing with while this world was in motion. You know, and some of you daughters that's getting of a certain age, and hey, just so a family can be connected, that family might give up their daughter, right, to that man in the Lord, right? Literally. I'm just 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Even, hey, if she is an asset, a valuable asset, that family is going to cleave to a man of the Lord. Like when I watched, um, what was the movie? Greenland. The lady, when they was about to go to some bunker or anything, because his family, because he had a government or a state job, the lady said, take my daughter with you. He said, I can't. Yo, it's gonna be people giving up their daughter, literally, because you, as a man of law, nah, I'm good, I can't, nah, I can't take it. You're not with me because you don't believe. But then they daughter, like, it's gonna get real out here, And the commandments teach us what we can and what we can't do. That's why it's very important to teach the children that. So, teaching children Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's law isn't just Sunday school. It's nation building. Each child who learns the truth strengthens the house of Israel. So when the older generation passes, the truth never dies because it leans on the next generation. So you got to sit there and be like, what if I did go? Would my child be ready? Would they walk in my shoes? If you could see that they argumentative, talking about a woman all aggressive, smart ass mouth, oh yeah, she ain't gonna make it. Literally. I'm a man. I don't want no woman having a smart mouth with me. Now in the world, that was different. A little feedback, a little giggly. No, the women, because as a man, like, especially when a woman she can meet the wrong man, and a man pop you upside your mouth. Regardless if we speaking about a cop or anything, you can't be speaking to a man that's created in an aggressive, stronger state. You being forcefully pushing and touching, let Jacob Trouble come. You women talk about guns and war, man. Some have another spirit in them. Your little Glock, your little I know UFC. That's not gonna stop a man of rage. Let alone if he come with a gang, you're done. Keep that act up. Smart mouth, loud, talking under your breath. Man, I'm telling you, y'all gonna humble a lot of y'all, man. Leave you by yourself. You're like, why am I by my? Y'all, I was believing in this word. Hey, and if you are the elect, he gonna give you memory. Because 2 Ezra 16, your sins gonna be your accusers in that day. And it's gonna be worse for the 2/3. So each child who learns the truth strengthens the house of Israel. So when the older generation passes, the truth never dies. So example, Yahawashi, even Yahawashi as a child, studied and grew in wisdom. Luke, the 2nd chapter, verse 46 to 42. And he told his mother, I must be about my father's business. He was serious about the Lord at the age of 12. How much your children? Look at Susanna. She thought about the law, raised in it, right? Esther, okay? But really think about it. He taught the word early and set the example of obedience to the Father. So I'm going to just read this point. Sirach chapter 41, verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begot us. The people will tell of their wisdom, and the congregation will show forth their praises. This is all the examples in the scriptures, the famous men, okay? Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. We could keep on going. But Micah, Isaiah, Hezekiah, the king, where he got an extra 15 years of life. Susanna, that I said, she was they wanted to get busy with her. Then they try to, have her get put to death, but Yahawashi raised up Daniel. Okay? Nehemiah, she was walking in the ways of the Lord. The Lord blessed her, got her land under Boaz, and she had a child. Of course, it was through Ruth, but she gave suck to that child. That child was hers. Okay? Sarai, She obeyed Abraham, became a memorial. Leah and Rachel, even though they was in competition, because they were sisters. That's why eventually later on it became a law. But they was in competition. One was paying, hey yo, look, I give you the man's race, but today is let me get my husband. And the girl said, I bought you for today. So even for you women that might say like, oh, you was with her this time or that or that, yo, it's really up to a man. A man could be with a woman for one day and be set. You know, you can choose to be, as long as the first one don't, our duties of sex don't diminish. You could be with the other one for 3 days and was with you with one. Your sex didn't diminish, right? He could choose to say 2 days, 3 days, hey, a month, let me be with you. 2 months, let me be with you. He can change whenever he wants, okay? So that it's always very important to always go into the law because it helps you build up your children and you, right, on what's going on. So we continue this legacy by teaching our children righteousness so the name of Yahawah Shema Shai is never forgotten among Israel. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. Again, it's all about this dang news that I got about these children, what they did to that little girl, right? And at the end of the day, this is another key thing why it's very important to teach your children. Because if you're not teaching your children, especially the laws and the commandments, that wisdom, that the wisdom that's in those laws, right, your kids is gonna be ass out. This is why some of us, it's not that we second guess why we got these children, but we'll be thinking why our children don't got this attribute, that, or that I failed this or I failed that. Really think about it. A lot of us is hard on other things. A lot of us is lenient. And I'm talking to a lot of y'all that allow y'all children just to do whatever they want, like trying to get what they want out. Nah, I can do what I want. Right? You're too lenient, right? You should be on them children when it comes to the knowledge of the Lord, because don't be selfish. That's another thing we do. We'll make sure that we got it, but none about our children. Now, it's really about the men, and then you women, y'all play y'all role as wives, and then the children. But if you have faith in Yahawah Shema Shai, if you have that holy fear, you're going to want to teach your children that too. Make it make sense. Because this is all about the elect. Don't you want your child to be the elect? So do the most. So all praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach one through the Spirit. Almighty Shalom to all for electing the same Spirit and the sound doctrine. Shalom, Shalom, the Bible.